Hello, it is Sunday. That means that it's time for the Sunday shows. That's when the Trump administration goes on TV and starts their new round of lies. Pam Bondi basically admitted that Pete Hegseth is in deep criminal trouble. Tim Walz came out and talked about Donald Trump's fading mind. And we also have Kristi Noem, who was asked about the asylum process. Now, if you don't know, member of the National Guard who died because of the Trump administration's inability to actually catch terrorists, they granted this person asylum. Now, what they're doing is they're trying to blame Joe Biden for everything, but it's not working. Here's a bit of it.
And you said that he was radicalized here in the United States. He was admitted to this country by the Biden administration. That's 100% correct, 2021. But he was granted asylum by the Trump administration in April. So did you see any red flags?
If you remember, John.
Yeah, did you see any red flags?
John, all the information that was gathered on that vetting process was gathered under the Biden administration. His asylum claim application started under the Biden administration. That information was provided by them, and the responsibility lies with them. And we need to know that and speak the truth of how this entire process happened so that we can fix it. That's what President Trump has been doing and dedicated to, is that when we look at people who deserve asylum, they have to be thoroughly vetted. They weren't under the last administration. That has completely changed under President Trump.
But again, he was granted asylum in April, so President Trump had already been in office for several months. You had been in office. Are you saying there was no vetting done by the Trump administration? You were simply relying on what had been done under the Biden administration? You did no vetting before granting him asylum?
The processes were put in place using information that was gathered during the application process that happened under Joe Biden.
So they granted someone asylum, and the Trump administration, who ran on making sure that people who stay here belong here and are not dangerous, decided to rely on the Biden administration for all information. One, that's probably a lie. Two, how long does he have to be president before things are his fucking fault? How long? It's almost been a year. It's not his economy. It's Joe Biden's economy. Joe Biden's the one who raised prices. It's Joe Biden who let this person in, even though they're the ones who gave him asylum. So how long? So, can someone let me know? 18 months? 2 years? I guess a year's not enough. Absolutely absurd.
That has been completely fixed, and new metrics and new processes have been added under President Trump. He immediately went to work, and we put in place under USCIS the new data and new information that can be gathered, such as, communicating with governments, getting information from them, and making sure that biometric information and dates of service match up. Much of the information that was gathered and provided by the Biden administration wasn't thorough and wasn't done. And
well, why wouldn't you have caught that then, if that's the case, until after the fact? Why wouldn't you have double checked their work? If Joe Biden was as incompetent as you say he was, then why would you trust anything his administration did? It doesn't make sense at all. Doesn't make sense at all. Here's another thing that doesn't make sense is this fucking fool. Man, I don't know about this guy. This guy just looks evil. He looks evil and dumb. Fuck these people. Fuck them. All right, here he is lying to you because he doesn't think you are smart.
Wondering how much of that spending increase you think is attributable to the fact that prices are up. Let me give you an example. The maker of Tonka trucks said a couple days ago that a toy truck that cost $30 last year is going to cost $40 this year, partly because they lost about 8 weeks of shipping due to the U.S. trade war with China. What's your advice to holiday shoppers who don't want to spend more this year than they did last year or can't afford to spend more?
I'm going to answer that first. Here's my advice to holiday shoppers. Vote. Maybe vote for Kamala Harris, because we all said this shit was going to happen. I'm sorry it's happening, but we all said it was going to happen. And if you want to change it, you got to get Democrats into office. Unfortunately, we got a two-party system. It's either Democrats or Republicans, okay? I wouldn't vote for Republicans who obviously are just a rubber stamp and all this stupid and unnecessary bullshit. The tariffs and everything else. The crimes. The corruption. Let's see what he has to say.
Right. Well, as you know, it depends on what you're looking at. Like egg prices are down, gasoline prices drop below $2 a gallon in a lot of places.
You mean
mortgage
below?
Rates are down.
Gas prices on average are still at $3 a gallon.
Yeah, that's right.
Country,
For
right?
a few states, they got below $2. And so the point is just that in the end, in the aggregate,
a few states. There's 50. Oh my gosh. It just doesn't take much to become successful and rich, I guess, because these people are not bright. These are not bright individuals. Donald Trump's also obviously not a bright individual and is very wealthy now on the backs of all of us. And Tim Walz came out swinging. Now, if you don't know, Donald Trump wrote this screed, this Thanksgiving screed, where he attacked everyone under the sun. It was his Thanksgiving post from hell, and Tim Walz was named in it, where he called Tim Walz the R word. It's actually a top Republican in Indiana decided that he's going to vote against Donald Trump's redistricting in the state because of Donald Trump's use of the R word. I think I guess the outcome is good, but it's so interesting how Republicans only care about stuff when it starts to impact them directly. Regardless, Tim Walz came out and said this about Donald Trump's mental health.
Well, here we got a guy on Thanksgiving where, and with our families, we ate, we played Yahtzee, we cheered for football or whatever. This guy is apparently in a room ranting about everything else. This is not normal behavior. It is not healthy. And presidents throughout time have released a couple things. They've released their tax returns, not Donald Trump, and they've released their medical records, not Donald Trump. And look, the MRI is one thing, but I think what's most concerning about this is, as your viewers out there are listening, has anyone in the history of the world ever have an MRI assigned to them and have no idea what it was for, as he says? So look, it's clear the president's fading physically. I think the mental capacity, again, ranting, crazily at midnight on Thanksgiving about everything else. There's reasons for us to be concerned. This is a guy that randomly says the airspace over Venezuela is closed. He's ruminating on if you could win a nuclear war. Look, this is a serious position. It's the most powerful position in the world. And we have someone at midnight throwing around slurs that demonize our children. And at the same time, he's not solving any of the problems. So I'm deeply concerned that he is incapable of doing the job.
Thank God someone is on TV saying just that. And not only is he incapable of doing the job, we have people in office under his administration doing the exact same thing, because here's Pam Bondi, as I said, talking about Pete Hegseth's order that we talked about yesterday to kill everyone, even survivors of a strike, which, by the way, is illegal. It's illegal. It's illegal. And Senate and House are opening a bipartisan investigation to this shit. That man, that drunkard, is in deep trouble. I'm going to say something before we get to this Pam Bondi thing. I'm just going to say this. This is something I think about a lot. You are going to outlive Donald Trump. You are going to outlive Donald Trump. There is your Sunday moment of hope. Okay? I don't mean he's going to die tomorrow. I'm not talking about, I hope he lives a long and happy life. Not happy, but I hope he lives a long life. I hope it's long enough that he can see everything that he tried to build up is destroyed by people who actually want to do well for this country. You're one of them. We're going to outlive this fucking president. Okay.
Heard that top Democrat, top Republican on the House Armed Services Committee are going to join what is happening in the Senate, a bipartisan call for more information on what's happening with these strikes off Venezuela, off the coast there. We've built up a military presence, a very strong one there. There are a number of lawmakers asking for a memo from the Office of Legal Counsel that supposedly provides the legal justification for what's going on. Will that be declassified? Will you turn it over to lawmakers or make it public in any way so we can see the legal justification for what's going on?
Yeah, Shannon, for 1 minute, jumping back to D.C., we have made 6,800 arrests, 640 firearms have been seized, and the Guard, it's under appeal, but our Guard is still allowed to be there and functioning in D.C., and in fact, we're sending in 500 more Guard. They're not operating right now in Chicago and Portland based on the appeals, but they are up and going in D.C. and in Memphis. Back to Venezuela. We are committed to taking out these narco-terrorists. President Trump is, Marco Rubio is, our entire administration. And that goes back to Joe Biden letting these...
Joe Biden. It all goes back to Joe Biden. By the way, that part right there, which just says we're committed to taking out these narco terrorists, they're going to play that on her trial, baby. They're going to, you just saw the future. They're going to play that during the trial when they're like, you admitted to these war crimes.
Foreign terrorist organizations walk into our country, come into our country through Mexico. They are narco terrorists. What you're showing on the screen right now are terrorists, and they are being blown up. We are not going to agree. You know, these Democrats don't want to agree with us. It's crazy. The drugs that are flowing into our country from these terrorists are killing our children. And if Donald Trump won't protect, if the Democrats won't protect our children, Donald Trump will, by any means we need to, within the legal realm of our society. And
well, unfortunately, what you did was super illegal. Baby, I look forward to that trial. All right, I'm going to end with this. Crazy Cash, admitting. I mean, what's great, I guess, is they're all just admitting to all the shit that they're doing. All the illegal shit. They're just saying it out in the open. Good.
A criminal case against director Comey was recently dismissed. What is your reaction to that?
Well, because it's pending in terms of appellate status and what we are going to do for the next steps, the judicial process can make whatever determination it wants, but we, the FBI, and our partners at the DOJ have numerous options to proceed, and we're executing on all those options. So we're not done.
Any detail available?
I would say stay tuned for right after Thanksgiving, and you'll see multiple responses, in my opinion.
Yeah, good to know. So you are just weaponizing the FBI to go after political opponents. Good to know. That's good information for us to know for the future. Thanks, Kash Patel. All right. Thanks for watching. Sorry. So I'm a little annoyed. I'm not annoyed. I feel righteously indignant. That's how I feel. I hope you do too. Or I hope you're feeling great. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.